it's like Venge and Batrider are very good versus the Wisg Tiny to catch them up for the split push, but at the same time, the Wisg Tiny is good because they relocate out of the
which is why you need
lasso.
You need this Venge with the Batrider, right? Because you can't just rely on purely the lasso to be able to catch somebody. Ogre is going to be picked up by Infamous, so we've got a lot of repositioning here. Ogre being picked up means a nice, big, hard, most likely ranged carry. Most likely mid as well. First one pops up, probably Sniper and OD. Anything else you put a whole lot of value in against a tiny Wisp opening?
It could still be Kotaro's TA. I mean, that's like his favorite hero, right?
That's true, yeah.
And having the Ogre frontline and a Bloodlust that gets put on a physical damage hero. And they're dire side, so it does work really well with that. Refraction charges versus the Wisp Tiny if it is the mid lane, which more than likely it is decent. It's not great because you still are a very short-range hero, so you're susceptible to the tossbacks a lot.
Yeah. Alliance is going double defensive supports, though.
They did the Oracle again, even though it did not have success for them the last time, but they are versus a Batrider, so it makes much more sense this time around.
Sure.
Being able to remove the lasso.
And there weren't any other supports that are notably good against that.
They still, yeah, there's nothing to stop that.
Disruptor is kind of slow. Exactly. Glimpse is, not really a good save mechanism.
Yep.
What other defensive supports are good versus Bat? I think they're all out of the pool. I mean, Dazzle's there, but
Dazzle's there, but it's not the same.
Grave, but that hero's already out of position, right? So Infamous
saving their Super Benhas hero and their Kotaro hero for last. Seen him play a lot of Weaver, but it was banned out in the first two by Alliance.
How does TA do versus Wisp Tiny mid?
I think you get kind of crushed.
Yeah, I think so too.
Especially with like the Shrine now, so Wisp having like you can just double heal your Wisp Tiny.
Yeah.
The Wisp obviously benefiting from with Tether. You can do the double thing with the Shrine, so it massively enables.
Kotaro's not going to be alone, right? That's another big part of the pickup of the Ogre Magi is that Ogre is going to be the better bullying hero in the mid lane.
Could do like a Viper, like an Ogre Viper dual lane. That sounds pretty disgusting.
That does sound kind of disgusting.
Versus the Wisp Tiny. I don't know if they'll do it here. I think they'll probably save their mid hero for the last pick and go for Benghas's hero here. But okay, so they did already. Okay, so they're going to do Venge Core. Yeah. So they go for the Dazzle themselves.
That's fine. I like this quite a bit. I actually really like the Dazzle. We weren't thinking about supports, but
yeah,
this is great. Wisp Tiny, both of them low armor.
Yep,
especially in the beginning. Wisp is going to be really low armor comparatively later on. Gives you pushing power with Eventual Spirit, nice physical damage. It's a core that can actually survive through the combination a little bit later on. Early on, he's actually susceptible to getting popped, but he does have some pretty good strength gain.
Yeah. And this is a very strong tri-lane if they do want to do something like that. And the Peruvians were one of the first teams actually, even from quite a while ago, that were doing like the dual off lanes with the Dazzle +1.
Yeah.
But this is a super strong tri-lane. They could even force a aggressive tri-lane scenario since they're on Dire, so they do have the Shrine, which enables them to do that even in a stronger manner. And the Batrider could go in a 1v1 link, but ooh.
God, what is this lineup from Alliance? Double defensive supports, a Wisp Tiny, and then 2 defensive supports behind a Necrophos.
That's a lot of healing.
That's looking pretty nasty.
An incredible amount of healing. With the Wisp and the Necrophos, you get the double, and this is something I actually, when we first got to Shanghai, I was talking to Loda about like Team Horde and stuff and how he thought that the teams were going to do. And he said that he thought Wisp Necro was actually going to be quite prevalent just because of the double heal factor that you get with the Wisp as well as Death Pulse and Ghost Shroud. You can amplify all the healing that you take. So once the Neko can go for these like greedy type build, maybe like an Atos into some armor, and you can wait for your Wisp to get the mech himself.
Right.
And then the double healing plus the Ghost Shroud, you get like quadruple healing pretty much because of the restoration application from Ghost Shroud and Wisp Tether.
Infamous, do you really think that Centaur was a better potential pickup for Alliance than the Axe? Because Alliance definitely needs some sort of catch hero. And while I see the appeal of Centaur and this mobility combined with the Wisp Tiny as well as the Necrophos, it's very good. Axe does serve as a great purpose against the Dazzle. And he's just a strong initiator as well.
Yeah, I think the Axe is actually a much nicer grab up for Alliance if that's what they do want to go for. I think it's a great pick versus the Dazzle to get the break through the shallow graves. And it's the initiator, like you said.
What is that ban from Alliance?
Yeah, look how much healing they have.
Yeah, but how are they going to fit into their lineup?
Well, I think that they're just like, we're all in on healing, guys. Like, we just cannot deal with AA no matter what happens. Doesn't matter what position it is. It could be mid.
Mid-ancient apparition. I mean, I've heard a lot of theory crafting, Yachties.
I don't know, man.
I've heard mid-lich. I've heard carry winter wyvern. I haven't heard mid-ancient apparition yet.
It used to be.
It used to be, yes.
Dendy used to play it all the time.
Dendy used to play it back when there was 10 heroes in Dota 2. Sure. We'll see.
They are very very healing dependent, I guess, with those 3 heroes, and they just don't want to risk it at all. They pick the Nyx, another great counter for the Batrider, so they're doubling down in case the Oracle isn't able to get the false promise off. It's very good, and it gives them an initiator, as you were mentioning, that they were kind of lacking.
And it does make it so Infamous are less likely to pick OD. If they're thinking about that, right? OD is really good versus Tiny Wisp, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, no. I was just...
All right, don't mess with me. You are the analyst.
No, you're right. OD is great. No, I was making it based on something else. Don't worry.
Okay.
They do go for the Viper themselves. So
nice. Good call. Good call.
They go for the Viper.
This is why you're the
dual lane.
analyst. This is why I trust you, and this is why you give me weird looks. I start second guessing myself.
That wasn't because of that. I heard something that sounded very bizarre.
Okay.
It wasn't you, Cap. So let's see. Who do you like better? I'm actually kind of liking Infamous.
I'm kind of liking it too.
Theirs looks more normal. Alliances is kind of just very strange compared to what we've been used to seeing, but it is kind of in their comfort with the Wisp Tiny. So we'll see if they're able to execute it. They have the relocate potential too with the Nyx kind of going for those setups if they want to go for some type of split push, and they have their potential to group up, but I'm still worried about this this Viper Ogre in the mid lane if they do get matched up versus the Wisp Tiny. That's going to be a very hard matchup.
From our position, right, I'm sure Alliance have tested this quite a bit, but from our position, it's like looking at a theory crafting lineup versus a tried and tested.
Yes.
Like Alliance,
well put.
We know Necrophos and Wisp could be really good. We know Necrophos, we've talked about it multiple times, could be really good for this patch, but it's just, in our experience, a bit untested. So we're not exactly sure how strong this lineup is going to actually end up being. Well, I mean, if anything signifies, just good old reliable hero, that's, going to be Viper.
And
Viper kind of represents everything.
And just like we kind of thought as well from the way that they were picking like the Venge, Ogre, Dazzle, it looks like they are going to go for some type of pseudo aggro with the Ogre moving between the mid and the bottom lane, and they're trying to get Batrider in a 1v1. At least it looks like from their items that they have.
I mean, if he gets the 1v1 versus Nyx Assassin, the Batrider would be super happy. And then they would have the aggro tri-lane versus the Oracle and Necrophos, which...
It's a very weak tri-lane from Alliance in comparison to Infamous.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they can't... Do you think they're actually even going to try and move Hanskin to that lane ever? Or do you think he's just going to stick with the Tiny and double... Because Tiny will have a very hard time if he doesn't have the Wisp against Katara's Viper.
I think he should stick with the... I think he should definitely stick with the Tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, and look, 3 runes claimed by Infamous.
Damn. So this could be Infamous winning every single one of their lanes here.
It could potentially be that, yeah, absolutely. Loda's going toward the off lane already, so they're trying to do some dodge, but Necrophos versus Batrider. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound too pleasant. It doesn't sound that bad for the Necro, but it doesn't sound great.
I actually think Necrophos is really value here because he's going to get the early stick, and he's going to get extra value out of the stick regen.
Okay, with the Oracle for sure.
There's no way he wins that 1v1.
Yeah, okay,
but
that makes sense.
I think of a 1v2 scenario.
Nice little.
Necrophos is going to be pretty happy.
Nice little dodge coming out from Alliance there for sure. Already putting pressure on King Tekka.
King Tekka sees his opportunity to turn around, but can't actually get any right clicks in. Stinger is already rotating up to help out the Batrider. Doesn't look like they're going to try and do a full switch around, at least not yet anyway. They're going to keep the Vengeful Spirit and Dazzle up against the Nyx Assassin. Meanwhile, Katara will probably have the easiest lane of all. He's matched up against Hanskin's Wisp and Limp's Tiny.
Yep, Hanskin already doing what I kind of figured he would. He is double stacking the jungle at the 1 minute mark. He stacks the Ancients and the Big Camp to start off there, as well as obtaining his bottle from taking the bounty rune for himself, I believe it was. Oh, no, he actually didn't take the bounty. He just saved gold. He didn't buy anything. EGM bought everything for them.
This matchup is definitely better, but do you think that Infamous is still going to be able to come out on top pretty heavily here in the laning phase?
I think they should be pretty happy with this, yeah.
The only hero that isn't going to do as well as this Bat Rider, I think.
It's like it's kind of cool. It's good though because they read the lanes is the good thing. They noticed where Infamous was going, so they do put the Necro in a pretty advantageous position as well as the Nyx. He can just get whatever he wants down here. There's not really an easy way to kill a Nyx with Dazzle Venge. Yeah. So he should get levels, which is really all Nyx wants. Mid lane is so difficult versus a Bloodlusted Viper. Being able to even attempt to get position for a tossback is like the only way you get a kill, but Bloodlusted boots.
Oh, this is actually pretty good.
Nice,
Excel
instant
will have
TP.
to TP out.
Very smart. Very good that he's carrying that, because he would have died for sure. But this is something you have to do versus a Wisp, or that you would like to do versus a Wisp, is rune control. You don't want him to have to get free runes to fill up his bottle constantly.
That Loda is able to push back the Bat Rider. Not enough sticky napalm stacks to hover over him. And King Tech is actually just going to go on back to base. Not risking EGM catching him with the Fortune's End or anything. Kotaro barely survives in middle lane. What happened there?
I think he went by himself to the rune and just got comboed and almost got actually bursted down, but
I guess so.
I don't think Stinger was in range at first to be with him. Still, pretty even lane so far. Bat Rider getting a bit more than the Nyx Assassin in terms of last hits and experience.
This is the best part about Wiz Tiny. I don't think you're going to be able to do this. Maybe you can on Dire's side, but the Radiant side does feel a little bit easier for the Wiz doing this double stack. It's kind of like an Alchemist. They don't need to win their lane because they can always fall back in the jungle and they're going to be able to get this big boost. So the Viper and his oppressive force in the lane is not going to matter as much to Alliance when it comes to the overview of things. Bat Rider's actually doing some jungling.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to bother to lane up there. It's
kind of weird.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of weird. I guess he's feeling the pressure. He feels like he can die once they get their levels up, once they get the higher burst damage from the Oracle and the Necro.
I can't. I don't think there's ever a time where Necrophos gets a kill without you going on him.
Yeah.
Pre-level 6, that is. So it's... Maybe he wants to give the Stinger the levels or something? Oh, that's definitely pretty weird.
Definitely a bit bizarre. I think giving Stinger the levels is okay, but I feel like he should probably be just sitting around mid more, just to make sure that Kotaro free farms. And they can actually get kills if Alliance makes a misstep, because you're pretty tanky on the Viper and the Ogre. You can turn the fight around quite easily. But Kotaro is sitting at a pretty dangerously low amount of HP. He can't really walk up with 550 HP versus a level 5 Tiny. So as soon as he gets that, it's very hard for Kotaro to lane. He needs to bring himself out more regen, and I think he should be doing so. Which he is. He brings a Raindrop too. Yeah, okay, good.
Raindrop and Tangos will be enough to keep him alive in this wave. Excel is even going to come over, give him just that little bit of extra boost, because the Vengeful Spirit certainly doesn't need the help against the Nyx Assassin. If anything, Excel is just kind of draining his experience. They're going to rotate the Bat Rider down here now, so maybe this is the long-term goal. The Ogre already sitting up there. They want to try and rotate up to top, but first they're going to try and finish off Yono-Samfan. King Tekka gets in front of him. Yono-Samfan does have the level 2 Spike Carapace, but it's not going to be good enough.
We'll want to make the switch soon. But they get the toss back.
Nicely played, Kotaro. Underneath that tier 1 tower, and it looks like they're not going to be able to turn and kill Limp. There's just too much burst damage. Excel unable to get out the Shell Grave in time, it seems. Not expecting that much. He's just trying to dance around these creeps, be able to get off the heal, whatever damage he can, but he is also going to fall. Alliance nicely playing that one with the toss back into the tower. That's probably how the Viper almost died last time we saw him. And Kotaro, I mean, you said that you wanted to be able to see the Ogre in the mid lane because you can't afford Kotaro as a Viper of all heroes to lose his lane and get taken out by the Wiz Tiny.
Yeah, he can't be left alone. It's too easy to get those opportunities. Now we do get the first last of the game, EGM.
I don't know, EGM's doing pretty well for himself, but not good enough. Unfortunately, that hero's just a bit too squishy. I like the fact that he purged off the sticky napalm.
Yeah, mid lane.
Before he got...
Oh, then went for the toss back, but just out of range of it.
Yeah.
The raindrop really helps the Viper in this type of situation. I'd like to see him pick up the headdress that we saw. I think it was Baby Knight's been doing. The it's like brown boots into brown boots, Aquila, headdress, and then Dragon Lance. So you're very tanky, and then you go for that boots of travel build. Since they already have the Venge build and the Dominator, with the boots of travel, he's able to join fights very easily.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially since he even with the range dropped, he very clearly needs a little bit of extra boost in HP. So.
I think that is like one of the best Viper builds. I think you can throw a Dominator in there and it can be okay as well, but it does seem to be the strongest. The mech seems to just have fallen out of favor in tradition since you're so mobile, and it just makes you a very one-dimensional hero rather than having some scaling potential.
Level 6 almost here for the Nyx Assassin. YonoSomeFun can finally truly come online and see if he can get some ganks in some of these other lanes.
Yeah, Limp and Hanskin clear their stack too, so Limp is almost level 7. Hanskin almost is 6-2 with a full urn finished up already too on Hanskin. So 7 minutes in, very early.
There's the TP. YonoSomeFun going to pop the Shrine and a Mango. And he's going to make his way. Is he going top for the Bat Rider? It's a bit easier of a kill.
EGM is in a very good position.
EGM, yeah. Loda going to be the target here, perfectly baited. They're going to be able to take off the sticky napalm. Doesn't actually hit the stun, but they will have the spike carapace to make sure the impale lands, and they'll be able to get the ultimate coming out from Loda, taking that death timer the extra level. An extra 10 seconds added on to him. But Infamous are putting on the pressure where needed. The Nyx Assassin leaves the lane, but he is going to forfeit that safe lane tower because of it.
Yep, Beng has now moving out of the off lane. 8 minutes in, he gets his Dominator creep. They pressure the off lane tower, take it, and now this is where you have to go there.
And slowing him down.
Taro.
But the heals are just way too much.
Kotaro has phase boots in his quick buy. I'm not too sure how I feel about that one. He does have Bloodlust, so he is going to be extremely fast, and that gives him more damage potential and stuff, but...
Yeah, I kind of like it with this attack speed, that big increase in attack damage. I think that could be acceptable. You know, I was really with you on the Dragonlance, but maybe it's just because of the Ogre that this is a potential pickup. King Tekka, you're very dead. Very, very dead. Even if you Firefly, Spike Carapace is there from the Nyx Assassin.
What was he doing there?
I don't know.
That was super
aggressive. Was he buying something? No, there's nothing a Bat Rider would buy at the secret shop.
Going for like a solo kill on EGM, and he just gets turned on by the reaction. A little bit bizarre. Hanskin picking up Urn charges, almost level 6 now too, so the relocate will be online very shortly.
You know what's interesting interaction that I didn't think about until right now with Was Tiny is the Viper, a decent part of Viper's damage comes from those levels of Nether Toxin.
Yeah.
Where he's doing additional damage the lower the hero is, but Tiny never gets low.
Yeah, that is
Hanskin's always buffering him up.
Very true.
It's like the softest of soft counters.
It does make a difference, though, for sure, in the laning phase.
Yeah.
If we're going to have to go full corrosive skin.
We're going to have a pretty quick blink dagger at this rate.
Yeah.
Oh, nice stun.
Relocate coming out.
Pops out of the jungle, will manage to get that nuke. Benjes, they are actually trying to move forward here. Looks like Excel may be the target, tosses him over into Benjes. They can still potentially catch Lotus slowed down, not going to be able to get the Reaper Scythe on Benjes, which is the target he wanted, until YonoSomeFun hits another stun, the toss, and they do manage to finish off that Vengeful Spirit. They do have Kotaro coming in from the side. EGM's going to be able to keep himself alive from that magic damage, but the right clicks are still good enough. YonoSomeFun sent forward, Spike Carapace not proccing up against that corrosive skin. It's not enough damage. Stinger is instead going to be the one receiving the brunt of Limp's blow, but they missed their stun on Kotaro. YonoSomeFun, I think one of the first missed stuns from him in the game, may have just costed them a kill of the Viper as he turns around, gets a little bit more harassment against the Alliance crew. With the backup of the Dazzle, he really should have nothing to fear.
Jonas actually didn't auto-attack the Viper, so he didn't get the corrosive skin on him. So
oh, really? He didn't?
Yeah, he got tossed in, so it looked like he did actually go for it, but he didn't hit him, and he carapaced, so he wasn't able to use the corrosive skin to proc the stun onto the Viper there, unfortunately for him.
Do you know what the damage, because it's not, it has to be a certain amount of damage, I think, to pop Spike Carapace stun. Do you know?
Is it a certain amount of damage?
I think so, yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Swap. Loda immediately pops that Ghost Shroud. That'll seriously negate a lot of the damage, especially with the EGM sitting there. Negates all the magic damage as well. Basically, the Necro goes invulnerable. Benches in the back lines getting targeted. It does receive the Vendetta, but a nicely climbed Shallow Grave. Kotaro gets Reaper Sight, but all that magic immunity allows him to be able to survive easily through it, but Limp will deal the finishing blow with his combination. They're going to be able to hit Excel with a stun. YonoSomeFun on point there. They look for another one. Limp has his full combination. Benj is caught inside the trees. He gets in with the avalanche. Are they going to go one more? Maybe a toss? Maybe on the Nyx Assassin. He's lining up. If they could just get the vision.
Oh, they tried to.
Yeah.
EGM was purging Loda so they could do the toss on Loda and get that for it, but they weren't able to
Still get the
range.
toss. Yonosafan has to hit this stun if they want to be able to kill Stinger here, but he now has Sticky Napalm, and he doesn't really want to play that game too much. King Tekka may see his opportunity to go for a lasso, but EGM's ready to go with his ultimate, so Infamous still need to be careful here. Chasing back Loda on the left-hand side, does manage to get the purge off on Yonosafan, but now the pullback, EGM takes that one off just before he dies, so Yonosafan has a chance to be able to get off some nukes, relocate back, and there is so much synergy here with the Alliance team. A perfectly theory-crafted mess that is making it hard for Infamous to be able to get any of these kills. Excel actually gets a little bit too far forward, is going to be targeted here. Shalgrave goes up. King Tekka, he is also very low. They're going to be able to take him out with the help of Limp and all of his nukes. Lotus sitting in the middle of everything with the Ghost Shroud now faded out, but it's too late. Infamous have run out of damage. The toss forward. Loda right in the middle of all these heroes, ready to go with another set of nukes. Keeps on getting that extra bit of regen off these kills so they could just keep on running down. Now Kataro, the big Viper, he doesn't stand a chance against all of this. Loda ends up with a triple kill as they just boost their way into a massive lead on the side of Alliance by continually fighting thanks to all of this massive sustain.
That was like a 1.5-minute fight. That was pretty absurd. The amount of sustain that they have from the Necro and the Wisp. Necro getting multiple kills throughout there, so he just stays full HP, full mana. He now has his Atos being delivered. But yeah, Alliance's lineup showing how well their synergy is. Even when they overcommit, the amount of potential that they have from all their saves shows how powerful it can be. If
you notice that Necrophos, he just goes invulnerable?
Yeah.
Because you can't pop Ghost Shroud when you're BKB'd or repelled, you know, to stop the double immunity.
Yeah.
But with Oracle and his ability with Fate's Edict to be able to put that on when Loda's Ghost Shrouded, it's just like...
He's actually immortal.
You are actually immortal, and there's nothing you can do about that hero.
That's pretty ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like that should not work that way. That probably should not be a combo that you can do. Fate's Edict with Ghost Shroud sounds pretty absurd.
It really does.
But at the same time, it works the same with the Ghost Scepter, so.
Yeah. And they also had that nice combination of the False Promise onto the Nyx Assassin. Hanskin just with the easy relocate back. They, thanks to the Fountain Regen, heal that hero up to full before he actually dies to the large amount of damage he had received. That was a nicely placed synergy as well there from Alliance. This is exactly the kind of Alliance drafts that you think of.
It was
not
just
split push, it's also some disgusting mechanic synergies.
Yeah, much better teamwork coming out from Alliance there. They fought as 5 in a unison together, like everybody together. Infamous, on the other hand, they were fighting with 4 at first. King Tekka ports in from the back lines into the fight, then they die, then they start TPing in and trickling one by one. So it was like 3 heroes running in individually into a 5-man grouped unit of Alliance, which has an incredible amount of sustain, as we've pointed out several times. So Infamous just taking fights that I feel like they should have just cut their losses rather than just keep running into it and chain dying.
Limp's going to get pretty big here. He's got his Blink Dagger, drums, and is now working towards that Aghanim Scepter so he can be the big Dick Tiny swinging that stick. And
yep.
Loda's also going to be a formidable carry as he's actually got Rod of Atos and looks like he's going to be picking up the Crimson Guard. So... what do you think about that build? Instead of going the mech, which he doesn't need because of Hanskin.
But Wisp is going to get it. So.
Yeah, so he just picks up a different kind of sustain item.
I think it's great versus the Dazzle and the Viper. I think it's a really good pickup here. Yeah. Like you mentioned, you said that they lack armor, so anything that can boost their armor aura is very good. We'll probably see like a Vlad's coming out for like the Wisp or something later on for the Tiny, if he gets to that point, but that's quite a ways away.
I feel like Infamous can't fight.
Yeah, they can't.
Not anymore. But they almost have to because they went in on a Vengeful Spirit Viper. That's a very early game focused lineup.
How's King Tekka do? He's got drums. Benghas has Dominator. Okay, well, they've got their levels. They've got like decent items in order to take the fights. They just have to take it together. They can't be doing it one by one. It's the same kind of thing. You have to know that you're playing versus a Wisp. You're playing versus that type of lineup. They're going to outnumber you 90% of the time. You have to just be ready for it. Be ready with sentries. Be ready with people sitting behind each other.
Kataro, for whatever reason, wakes Roshan from his slumber as he picks up the Haste Rune. Yonosafan is sitting mid right now, but the counter ward already preemptively placed by Excel. And looks like Infamous, I do kind of agree with them, right? I think they do just need to farm up their next round of items and rediscover their place in this game.
Let Alliance go on them. Don't like force a fight at a weird place. Like stay near your towers, because that's the best place for your fight right now. Then Shrines, towers, put a ward, a sentry right around those areas, and make sure that that happens, because the only way that Alliance really can go on the offensive here is if somebody just gets caught out in a bad spot. And they shouldn't be in a bad spot really, unless they're all just clumped up at a tower.
But it's Alliance, and they seem to have made the same kind of read. They're being very careful with the way they're pushing out. It's really only the Tiny Wisp who are pushing out the side lane. Nyx Assassin, Stefan was just trying to get some information, but not really putting himself too aggressively on the side of the Dire, making sure he doesn't get caught up by counter wards. And then Loda is just slowly but surely poking at mid, but he's got this backup of EGM with the False Promise, which will ensure that guaranteed Necrophos won't die as the relocate help comes in from Alliance.
They scouted Jonas. Yeah, this is what they need to do. Just like tons of sentries is really, it's going to hurt their supports quite a bit, but this is the perfect approach in order to deal with what Alliance's aggression can do, because diving towers for Alliance still isn't that easy versus Infamous.
Oh, nicely done by Loda. Holding on to that right click on the tower till the bitter end, does manage to pick up the bounty for it. Infamous failing to get what could have been a free deny.
The Blink Dagger is going to be their time to, if they want to try something, the blink on the bat and then go for a smoke play. Yeah,
they gotta. I think the first step is they need to punish the Tiny Wisp, which is the only active force on the map right now for Alliance. If they can punish that duo and make them feel a little bit more scared about pushing out these side lanes, I think that'd be the best step to be able to inhibit the Alliance's farm game.
Yeah, that's usually the way you want to play versus a Wisp Tiny. You want to make the moves where the Wisp is, where the Tiny is, because obviously they can just join the fray wherever it is if you take it on another side of the map, on the other side of the map. But that being said, their 5-man units becoming stronger and stronger, definitely for the side of Infamous, picking up just tankier items. And once they do get a couple, it's rare. It's going to get harder and harder for Alliance to fight into them as well.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
They have the Dazzle, the Weave, and all these type of defensive positions as well.
I think the BKB is probably where they reach their biggest peak for this Vengeful Spirit lineup. And Vengeful Spirit is in some trouble right now, but they do have the Dazzle behind him. They do manage to get the stun onto Jonas Safon. No Spike Carapace just yet. He's being pulled back to his death, but not really, actually. Infamous, they're trying to deal with Hanskin at the side. They will be able to kill him. Reaper's Scythe goes out, but it doesn't actually finish off a hero. Batrider's still getting a lot of damage. Firefly in this river area is going to be caught by Limp. That right click still isn't enough. Spike Carapace is on the other side. Finally does get tossed up, but still, Alliance committed heavily to be able to kill that Batrider. Now they're being chased down, fully out of position. Loda turns, doesn't have Reaper's Scythe. He's just going to be kited around, and they get the Oracle on the side. Kataro very smartly reads that defensive support must die first, and now they're just going to leave Loda for last. Infamous clean up this fight, almost catching Limp as well, as Stinger's going to try and chase him down a bit. If he gets a little lucky on Fire Blast, maybe, just maybe, he could do it, but alas, no such luck. Infamous, though, pick up 4 in that team fight, and they only drop King Tekka's Batrider, who's really got everything he needed in the first place with the Drum's Blink.
Yeah, that's very important for Infamous. Absolutely, they are just a little bit too tanky for Alliance to take the fights in that matter. Relocating in the back lines like that, Hanskin just literally threw himself in a position where he just gets auto-attacked to death by the Vengeful Spirit. And with the Alpha Wolf creep as well, everybody with Vengeance Aura on top of that, they have quite a high amount of damage potential once the Weave starts to build up, as we saw it did. They are able to turn and in a couple hits successfully bring down almost everybody on the side of Alliance.
Smoke up. Infamous just won a fight, but they are not going to take too much of a breather before trying to force another one. They're going to smoke deep into this mid area, and they're going to go into the off lane jungle.
Their lineup is perfect for non-stop fighting with Blink. Every time Lasso's up, they can go for plays.
Oh, they're so close to being able to run
Smoke
into this,
broken,
but the Batrider's the wrong side.
Oh, King Tekka misread the movement by Alliance.
I mean, it's not much surprising, right? Yeah. Alliance just started to back away from that top lane.
Yeah, he thought they were going to go another wave with the Wisp and the Tiny, or even to the jungle, into the Dire jungle.
Very unfortunate. So that could have been perfect for Infamous. They are still a bit behind in net worth. An initiation there definitely would have gained them full control of this game.
I just clicked on Loda, and I was like, it looks like Loda's going to be going for the mech. And then I clicked on Hanskin, and I'm like, it looks like Hanskin's going to be going for the mech. Wait, they're both buying mech.
Okay, he switched it up. Loda's got the information. I'm not going mech and Guardian Greaves.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. He has, I was like, I swore I clicked on the Wisp before and he had it in his quick buy. And I talked with them about, I literally talked with them about this the other day, and that's what they told me that's what they wanted to do. So,
so we'll have Shivas for the Necrophos, so he can bump up that armor a bit more. His position is a bit risky against a Bat Rider, so yeah, he realizes it. Bat Rider just started coming down that jungle area. He's going to see Loda now. Maybe feels comfortable going for a quick jump, but he doesn't have the Force Staff to be able to take himself away from EGM and successful scan from Alliance. They know what's going on, but they can't seem to really stop it. This Tier 2 tower just gets dropped so quickly thanks to a Bloodlusted Vengeful Spirit. Loda puts himself on the front lines here, trying to dare Infamous to go on him. Because he is definitely, I think Necrophos, especially with Ghost Shroud, is a target you always want to be able to somehow bait.
Stinger left alone, the bottom lane. They are going to get limp out of it, it seems.
Yeah.
So relocate from Hanskin. I don't know if did he not tether?
Yeah, I think they somehow managed to separate him. I'm not sure how.
It looks like that had to have been what happened, because
maybe
he was relocating to catch the back lines, and Limp was left behind to die. That was not worth it for Alliance at all.
No, certainly not. Especially since the Wisp, normally the Wisp doesn't have, these really terribly big ticket items that need to be acquired, but Mech has so much overwhelming value, not just for the Wisp Tiny, but also for the Wisp Necrophos and any lineup that has the False Promise from Oracle. For example, Necrophos actually gets 200% regeneration, 50% or 100% increase, right?
I wonder how much
from Ghost Shroud and 50% from False Promise.
Tether, Ghost Shroud, and False Promise. He gets. How does it work actually? How much bonus healing you get? I've never seen the triple combination, so it's probably some ridiculous amount that you really do get when you have all three in combination. Yeah. That's kind of cheeky. I do like it.
Sorry, he gets a 150 increase from False Promise and Ghost Shroud.
And Ghost Shroud. Yeah, and then with the Tether, he gets another
from
double.
Tether.
So is it? Okay, that's a lot. Either way,
that is a ton of heal. It's all we need to know.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Which is why Loda's trying to bait himself so often, right? He puts himself on the front line, seeing if Infamous will actually make a go on him, because he knows False Promise is going to come in, and then I'm going to get a metric crap ton of heals.
Yeah. Here we go. Roche time. Kotaro, off of the last couple of fights, he is very, very, very buff on this Viper now. 2,100 HP. Finished up the S&Y, the Dragonlance, and even going for an Iascati. Straight up just stats tankiness, because he doesn't need to get damage in this lineup, because obviously Viper gets Nether Toxin, but they have the minus armor from the Venge. They have Venge Aura, an Alpha Wolf, and the Weave plus Bloodlust. So all he needs to do is become this super tanky frontline hero, and he will do enough damage just based off of that.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Considering the fact that, from our perspective, this is a relatively new and different strategy that Alliance are running. Infamous have not taken the bait whatsoever. They seem to be very chill on just taking these objectives, not actually biting when it comes to going for that hero that's standing on the front lines. They just take the objectives, back away. Great example here. They just do Roshan, bully down the mid lane. They're going to go for a toss back here on the Vengeful Spirit, see if they can pop him with the Reaper's Scythe potentially. Shalgrave being faked out. Finally, he does go down from his shell, but he got the BKB down as well. So both are going to be able to negate that Reaper's Scythe play. Loda unable to find the big pickoff that they were really searching for. Infamous not feeling comfortable with their BKB being used there, and a half-health Vengeful Spirit will back away, but they are a tier 3 richer.
Yep, they got the tower down at least. And did Alliance place wards inside of their racks? They did. Okay, cool. I was like, I see two little things inside of the racks, and they are. It is an obs and a sentry ward. I had forgotten that you can put it inside the buildings.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
But it's very, it's like neither team has like an incredible teamfight lineup, but Infamous is just stronger than Alliance's at this point, because they have the Aegis and they've hit their timings now with their tankiness of their heroes, with the BKB on Banghas, with the Blink Dagger on the Bat Rider, and then once this Ogre gets pipe, I'm actually struggling to see how Alliance can deal with the siege.
Yeah, at 15 minutes, it looked like Alliance, they reached a point where they were just unbeatable in a team fight, and now it's Infamous's turn. They've hit a very large peak with all these items being finished up, and they look like they're just going to be able to roll into this lane of racks, take it quite easily. They could back up at some point in time and go for tier 2s if they really wanted to, or maybe they could just keep rolling into the top lane of Rax as well.
This ward right here is super important. They've got one in the base. It did not get dewarded either, so they have vision of people. They have vision of the inside of the Radiant base, so the Batrider is able to get all the information that he needs.
It's kind of hard to see, but they also have a double damage on Viper. That gets purged off, is going to be tossed back into the team. Kotaro is targeted here, but again, holding on to that Reaper Scythe. He knows the Shallow Grave is going to be baited out at any point in time. Finally, it does go down. EGM's been picked off just like that. Kotaro stands on the front lines here with the Shallow Grave trying to battle it out, but it looks like Limp is able to stop that initiation of the Batrider. Now they're going to be able to get Kotaro with the Reaper Scythe, but it is just an Aegis. That's really not what they were looking for. He does get the stacks of the regen. Yonosafon does get a beautiful stun onto multiple people, but they are just trying to kind of kite Infamous around. The damage just isn't there from Alliance anymore. Now Loda's going to be tossed back, a potential save. He gets it. Oh, that was sick. Very nicely played by Limp. Another initiation coming in from Yonasan, but he misses it this time around. Just gets taken out like that. Loda with a Ghost Shroud is not going to be able to save poor Tiny, who instead gets right-click down in his stay. Excel pops a Shallow Grave on himself, and the rest of the team does take that ranged Rax. He's going to go ahead and TP out. Stinger does something similar. He's not going to be able to make it away, but well worth it for Infamous in the end. A lane of Rax achieved, and a buyback blown, right? Just one?
Yeah, dieback from Jonas. The weave was started to build up, and Jonas actually got like 3-shotted. Same thing with Limp. Limp had minus like 15 armor or so because he went for the Hyperstone instead of the plate meld to try to go for some more damage, but it definitely hurting him a lot because he got chunked down in like 3 or 4 hits by the Viper when he was fully weaved up. And now Kotaro has a full Eye of Scouty finished up too, so even more impossible to kill. And I think the pipe should be finished up on the Ogre. They should be accruing a lot of items that make it even make it even easier for them to be able to go for that siege.
The worst part is that Alliance can't even really split push right now because there's just not going to be enough gain with the tier 2 towers still up. EGM going to be caught, pops the false promise, but he's definitely not making out of here. And listen, I don't think so. They're going to try and come in. Alliance does go for the relocate play here onto Kotaro. The swap goes out, but the Reaper Scythe is still on him. It's not enough to finish him off, but they do manage to get the kill anyway. EGM does manage to get a nuke out. So, benches fighting up against Hanskin, but he gets the relocate out, and Benches will get beaten down until a Shallow Grave comes out. He's actually going to try and turn and see if he can get the kill on Limp before he dies to Loda. Will end up going down before he can claim that kill. Looks like King Tekka may be picked off as well. Yonosamfon doesn't have a stun just yet. A Mana Burn's ready to go, but he gets slowed down by the Ignite. Loda, not having the Rod of Atos up, won't be able to catch an additional hero, so Alliance actually do manage to make that work with an initiation on EGM.
I think Infamous should recognize right there that the only times that they've lost fights versus Alliance is when they go 1-by-1. They need to just stay grouped together. Don't go for these like small solo pickups. It doesn't do anything for you in the theme of the game that you're playing. You just want to go as a balled unit, get a Roche, or just siege a tower just with your 5 heroes already being there. Going for these little like 1 or 2 with maybe 3 heroes. Going for these type of plays is really going to bite them in the ass, and I don't think that that's a mistake they should make again after they've done it twice now.
How quickly do you think Alliance's lineup is? Loda. They do have the relocate, and King Tech is by himself, so he's still going to try and get the pullback here. Kotaro, that looks like they're just leaving Loda for dead. They have the false promise, but EGM's just not going to get there in time. Now the relocate comes in. They immediately blink on a King Tekka, almost finish him off, but a Shallow Grave comes in. Hanskin not going to survive for long. 5 seconds, not a chance. Limp. He now starts running himself away. The immediate false promise to take away that Ignite slow and give him the opportunity to blink ahead of Kotaro, but that means EGM is going to get caught here. Goes Scepter and a little bit of heals, but Kotaro definitely has the damage to two-shot him on the way out. Tier 2 towers also going to be falling here sometime soon. And that'll open up both the shrines as well as the bottom lane of Rax.
Yeah. All Infamous needs to do in this game is just 5-man. They don't really need to go worry about like the side lanes or anything. Just make sure that they're all just sticking together and sieging as a unit versus this. It's like a strategy that people used to do all the time versus Wisp. Just make sure you're never separated so you don't give them opportunities to go for the relocate plays. And they're just much stronger like this. Their heroes naturally work better with the Weave, with the Dazzle Heal, with the auras that they get naturally with the Bloodlust. This is the way that they should be playing their lineup, and here we go. 5-man siege. It should be pretty impossible for Alliance to stop this with the pipe finished up, with the buckler, with all the different defensive aspects that Infamous has.
He gets the vision. Who's he going to jump on? He's going to try and grab Hanskin. Actually jumps forward. Limp blinks forward at the same time, goes for the toss back, and King Tekka immediately gets turned around on, does have the shallow grave once again. They pop the Shrine. Yoda Saban pops his Ghost Scepter as well as Ghost Shroud out from Loda. Turns around, Reaper's Sight does manage to finish off the bat, it looks like. Uh-oh, that's no good. 80 seconds on the clock for him, and Loda as well as Limp are trying to fight their way through this constant slow. Excel managed to get away from that extra bit of nuke. The Stampede doesn't land. Loda pops another Ghost Shroud, but he's just middle of these heroes, not doing enough damage. Katara
Nice
gets
swap
swapped back. Maybe Loda can actually kill him, but no. Benches managed to get the Viper out of there. He puts himself in danger, though. His Limp is going to be able to pick up that kill, and Stinger does TP away. Again, the TPs from Infamous, very nicely timed. A swap save onto Kataro does keep Infamous's losses at a minimum,
but they get
as
the
they
racks.
got the melee racks as well.
Kotaro, that was like a... King Tekka did like this kind of zoning play. He ideally wanted to grab Limp, but Limp blinked at the same time as he went for the initiation. So he gets Loda, but nice carapace from Jonas comes out. And then Ben has just kind of just literally just focused the racks the entire time while Kotaro walks right past and just makes space for him. Playing really far up aggressively, almost paying with his life for it, but then Brax dies. Benghas gets a beautiful swap out on his buddy Kotaro, saves his life, and sacrifices himself for the greater cause.
What does Alliance need? Because it's looking like Infamous are going to have to spend more and more of a premium in order to get these lanes of Raxes. Alliance are very rapidly picking up some new items. They just picked up the Assault Cuirass on the Tiny. But is it enough? At what point do you think they finally have enough to be able to beat out Infamous and stop these pushes?
I don't think that they will for quite a long time. It's just because they're playing, it's like a single core Tiny.
Yeah.
Necro, now he has a Shivas, which at least gives him that tankier aspect, but...
We don't have the quick burst on anybody.
Yeah, you don't have that type of team fighters either compared to Infamous. They have this Weave. Weave is pretty much like the most important thing. I think if they can pick off the backlines, that'll be pretty much the most important thing. If they can pick off this Dazzle, that's the way they win this fight. Get in the back, kill the Dazzle as the Nyx gets a counter initiation on the Bat Riders. Their most ideal way to get the setup. But still very difficult for them.
He's around the Shrine. They're going to be able to pop him pretty quickly as Reaper Scythe does manage to get that kill. Excel bounce around. What did Loda use the Reaper Scythe on in that last team fight, by the way?
It was the dying Bat Rider after the Grave wore off.
Oh, okay. Lip. He's going to be gone
melted instantly because the Weave is fully stacked up right now, minus 20 armor.
Yeah, Loda's actually going to need some serious help. Hanskin does not have a relocate to be able to pull him out. Not yet. Anyway, 3 more seconds. 2, 1. Hanskin gets the false promise, and that's going to pull Loda a little bit of a distance, but it's still not enough to be able to get himself out of this fight entirely. Hanskin received a lot of damage. The false promise fades. He dies in the fountain, and Loda is left for dead. Nyx Assassin, the only one alive.
They're too beefy.
Alliance, I think they knew they had to push out. They had to actually get an engagement away from their base because they were just going to bleed objectives again. So they tried to make an engagement work outside on the Dire side of the map, but they just get throttled.
But on top of a Shrine. They didn't even use the Shrine either. They just bought back though on Stinger. They give the Bloodlust to his allies, and then they become that super driving force. They're just too... Best word I can think of is just they're too beefy. They have way too much HP, too much health on every single hero. 3,000 on Viper, 3,000 on Venge, 2,000 with 20 armor on Ogre. Every single one of them is just way too tanky for them to be able to deal with on the side of Alliance, and this is the last Rax is being cleaned up, and should be a GG call coming out from Alliance in a very short
they get to pop him,
period of time.
Deal with the range Rax at bottom, and that is now going to be Megas.
Yeah. They can't come back from Megas.
No. Alliance, they've done some miraculous comebacks in the past, but this would be something else. Swap back, and look at that. The 2 cores just focusing down Limp. He may have the BKB, and he does actually get the save out there from Hanskin. BKB King Tekka right in the middle of all this with the fire. Limp's going to be able to come back at full HP, but he just gets kited around so heavily by this Viper. He's already down to half health from this physical damage. Hanskin trying to help him out some more, but Hanskin's just going to die like that. Maybe the false promise save gets him a little bit more time. Loda comes forward. Does have a Reaper Scythe ready to go. He needs a very important target. He chooses Benches, and with the help of Limp, they will manage to pick up that one. Kataro is still in pretty healthy shape, but so is Loda and Limp. Maybe they can actually get this hero. Buybacks are coming out from all sides of Alliance as they fight up against Mega Creeps as well as Infamous inside of the base, but they are actually winning it. They're going to be able to kill Kataro. Limp trying to stay alive against Stinger and King Tekka, but doesn't actually get out. They needed that extra little bit. Loda's actually burning in the flames right now. He's going to die. Oh, EGM saves him just at the right time. Gets a little bit more heal. King Tekka comes back. Jonas misses the stun that would have actually killed the Bat Rider there. And Infamous, they may have just lost a lot of heroes and gave a lot of gold back to Alliance. It cost them so many buybacks, and ultimately they are still facing up against Mega Creeps. King Tekka still gets caught by EGM. Excel Is he going to give another death to Alliance? He is. So Infamous maybe just a little bit too cocky with their Mega Creeps advantage that they have. Give a small little glimmer of hope to the Alliance crew.
Very small. I would say it's sub 5%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we've seen Alliance make comebacks. We've seen them do incredible things versus, you know, 2 lanes racks down, Megas, but to have it by 35 minutes, that's one of the earlier Mega Creeps. I'm not sure if I've ever seen somebody weather through Mega Creeps for that long.
Yeah. I think maybe the only one that comes to mind is from, what, Manila Major MVP, that one game that went like 100-something minutes, but that was different patch, different style.
And even then, it didn't happen this early into the game,
Yeah, it
right?
wasn't this early on. It was at like 50 minutes or so, and they fought it for like 45 or 50 minutes. But yeah, they do have Limp to at least clear out. He's even going to go for Maelstrom to do even more so than that. Loda can do a decent job at clearing the crit waves out too because he bought his own Maelstrom, but it should be pretty hard to really push the waves out of their base. If they ever really want to go for a siege, it's nearly impossible. Infamous go for the Roche for the safest play, and then they're just going to group up and go to pick a lane and go down into put the nail in Alliance's coffin.
Infamous, they'll pick up the Aegis and replace the Dragonlance. He's got a Diffuser Blade for Kataro. Love that pickup. Same goes with Vengeance, actually. They both got Diffuser Blades. The Ghost Shrouds as well as the Ghost Scepters have been pretty annoying for them to deal with, so that'll help out quite a bit. Do you think it removes Fate's Edict? I don't think it matters too much, but...
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I think it does.
It does, yeah. You can just mouse over it now. Remember they added the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it added so it shows you which ones are dispellable now. It's pretty
basic dispel.
Pretty damn useful.
It is indeed. Nyx Assassin trying to work on that Aghanims. That would be great for holding base, but he's not getting it anytime soon. Lotus Orb being built by Stinger. There's the initiation from King Tekka. Goes for EGM, making sure there's going to be no false promise save here. Not even attempt to relocate. Now it goes out, but it doesn't actually save the hero they wanted to. Lotus in the middle of 5 right now with his Ghost Shroud. That's only going to last so long before he becomes a target once again. Swap back. Hanskin is going to be the next defensive support that gets dropped. And Alliance,
yeah, it's too many.
They are way too far behind to be able to hold this against Mega Creeps.
And this is kind of the, I think this might just be the problem with the Oracle. You know, it's like you have this, it's cool, you know, it's clever, the Oracle versus Bat Rider, you can remove the lasso and everything, but then your job is done. That's your, that's pretty much what you did in this team fight. You can throw some sustain in as well as your presence in the laning phase is pretty decent, but